For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app or however the hell you found us. That I always say, doesn't matter how you found us, it matters that you found us. It's 30 minutes of time-wasting fun today, and we've got a special guest joining us a little bit later in the show. You know him from American Ninja Warrior on NBC. Matt Iseman is back to talk about the show's latest season. It's 14 seasons already of the show. And it's always interesting because, you know, people on that show really are upping their game every season, and I always say that they're competing against themselves, right? Like, it's not, yes, you're trying to beat other people's times, but really you're also just trying to finish the course yourself, right? I don't know that when you're up there, maybe I'll ask him, but I don't know when you're up there if you're actually sitting there thinking, oh, okay, so-and-so's time is whatever. You're not watching the clock, right? You're focused on what you're doing. If you've never seen the show, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's my thoughts. So we'll talk with Matt coming up in just a little bit. And birthdays. Birthdays are kind of a big thing, right? I'm sure you've had one in the past, year or so. I have a milestone birthday coming up this summer, but I'm not exactly sure how to celebrate, what to do. And so I'm gonna talk it through with you. Although talk it through with you means really just me talking and hopefully you emailing me your thoughts after. My thoughts on my milestone 40th birthday. So that's what we're doing on the show today. It's on The Scribble and it starts right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now, it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
JB here, back on The Scribble. All right, so my 40th birthday is coming up in just a few weeks. And see, the thing with my birthday is it's generally during a holiday weekend in Canada, okay? And that means one of two things. Everybody's like out of town, at the lake, doing their thing with their families, whatever it is, because it's also the midway point of summer, right? Like it's the beginning of August, August 1st. And so at that point, it's almost that signal that we're halfway through summer. So we got no more time to piss around. Like we got to start, summer is now almost over. And I've never really done much for my birthday. So for me, I feel like I should be doing something for my 40th because it's my 40th and that's, when people do big things for their 40th. Do you know what I mean? Like last summer, my accountant turned 50. Now, I remember her saying even years, I've known her for 15, 16 years or so. And I remember her even then saying, oh, for my 50th, I'm going to go, we're going to do Europe, whatever. But of course, there were shutdowns last year, right? Nobody saw that coming. Who would have thought? So I understand when people plan, years in advance, right? I'm just, a few weeks out from mine. And people are saying, oh, what are you doing for your 40th? I honestly hadn't put much thought into it because I just don't do, anything really. And so, then I kind of started going, well, your life story when you look back at it. You live your life for you. That's really what it is. But you also want there to be a story to it. So if somebody does go and say to me, in a few years, right? What did you do for your 40th? Did you do anything special? I kind of just sat around the house with my dogs. Yeah, that's kind of, how it went. And so, no, again, I don't care what people think of me, so that's not the issue. But it's more just sort of, when you're going through the story of your life, right? I mean, I've had so many great experiences, with my career from, 15 years on the radio, covering red carpets and, traveling and going here and doing this and that. And, so it almost kind of seems like you're I don't even know how to describe it. Like you're sort of going uphill, right? Like it's always, after 15 years on the radio, we went out with a bang in Nashville, and I'm all over Music City, and that's kind of how we went out. And so then the next milestone, the next thing in my life is my 40th birthday. How do you go from that, like the finale of the radio show, and then be like, well, my 40th, I kind of just laid in the backyard. Yeah, we ordered Uber Eats, and that was about it. I didn't really hang out with anybody. I didn't really, because, at the end of the day, too, it's, are you doing something for the sake of doing something? Like for me, I'm not a nightlife person. I'm not, big into, the sports or, concerts or big. So that's also it too, right? Like, yeah, I had the idea. I'm like, well, why don't we do like Mexico for a week, or why don't we, do Disney or something? And then it was kind of like, but that's just not something that's just not me. And so again, same thing of like, well, why don't you just, big party with your friends, or whatever. It's like, because I don't really do that. Like I hang out with people one-on-one, I'll go do this with this friend and then go and do that. Like, you don't mix, what was that? It was on Seinfeld, wasn't it? Where you were mixing, George and his girlfriend, and Elaine wanted to do something with the girlfriend and it ended up being awkward. You're mixing the, whatever you call it, the balance of whatever. And so that's kind of how I am. My family doesn't get together with my friends. My friends don't, I just don't do the big group thing. So then one of our producers, Bonnie, said, well, so that's what you do for your 40th then. You bring everybody together. And then I said, but we don't have people in our house. That's also the one thing. Like, I'm not going to go and I've never had a party in my house ever. I've had my house for almost 15 years. There's never been a party ever. So then you're kind of sitting there going, well, do we have it at somebody's house then? And now, it's on them to, clean up and set all up and whatever. You almost then want somebody to throw the party for you. But then how do you go and ask somebody, hey, can you have a party for me? Because that also sort of seems weird, right? So I'm in this predicament of, I feel like I should do something for the 40th. Because I don't want it to pass, and then, like I said, have that kind of, not regret, but I guess, oh, you're Mr. like red carpets and celebrity interviews and blah, blah, and so for your 40th, you laid in your bathtub for 6 hours? Yeah, that's kind of what I did, right? And again, right, like I said, you live your life for you, right, not to impress other people, and I'm certainly not doing it for photo ops so that all of a sudden I'm going to get a whole bunch of likes on Instagram because people see that I'm in Mexico for my birthday. And you also have to remember that, too, with our radio show, we did so many travel tourism programs that I've been to Mexico, 5 times or whatever it was. So while most people might go and do a trip like that for a birthday or whatever, I was doing that for a job, right? Like, I mean, I was being paid to vacation and go to Disney and do these things anyway. So it's, I'm almost, that's where my life, I said to somebody before, was my life is almost kind of the opposite. So when it came to weekends, I was laying low and doing nothing in my house. That's when everybody else goes out or, travels for spring break, whatever. And I'm still going, well, I taped spring break in February. So that was when I kind of celebrated spring. I mean, not a student, so I don't have spring break, but that was kind of when I recognized spring break. So then when everybody else is doing spring break, I'm doing nothing because I'm kind of just having that downtime. So that's sort of been the story of my life for the past 15 years because everything was radio related and work related. And that's just how I was comfortable, right? That's just how I knew life to be. So this is where I'm opening it up to you, your thoughts, your input, your insight. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. What did you do for your milestone birthdays? If it's your 40, or your 40th, do you just go all out? And I also don't like spending money. I have plenty of money, but I also right now know that the airlines are kind of gouging you on, fares. And then there's, they're losing bags and they're canceling flights. And so right now the tourism industry is sort of flaring up, right? It's fueling up to get everybody going again. And then I feel that there's companies that are sort of taking advantage of that. Also, too, because they really had their profits slashed over the past 2 years when things were shut down. So I understand. But that's why I'm not it's the principle of that then. When I go and I look at the airline websites in Canada, and I see, and also too because it's a holiday weekend, when I see that it's costing me almost $1,000 to not even fly halfway across my country, I mean, there's the principle there. And going and saying like, yeah, you know what, that's not cool to do that to consumers because, you know, I realize that, and a lot of, you know, the airlines did either get bailout money, they've got millions and billions, and their executives got $1 million bonuses and all these other things. So, you know, and then you heard the woe is us airline cries that, oh, our industry is hurting, we need support, we need this, we need that. And then you go and do that now where it's like, oh, it's $1,000 for me to go and visit my cousin near Ottawa. Oh, okay. Or if I want to go to, you know, one province over, two provinces over, oh, that's another $800 just to do that. Any other day, though, you know, it's going to be maybe $200 or $300, right? So that's something where do I want to give my money to airlines like that when I feel that they're being greedy? So there's that as well. But all of these things considered, tell me your thoughts. If it was your 40th, maybe it is your 40th this summer, this year, you know, during the summer, what is your plan? Are you laying low? Or were you itching to get out? Because you also have to remember too, one other thing, I know we've got to wrap this up, but one other thing for me is that during the shutdowns and lockdowns, whatever, I was still traveling. I wasn't landlocked. Because as a journalist, believe it or not, I was an essential worker. So I was still able to go back and forth to Los Angeles and do things like, again, you know, we were in Nashville last summer. So all of that stuff was cool for me. So I'm not one of those people who's just itching to get on a plane and go somewhere because it hasn't stopped for me anyway. So there's also that to consider. Now, again, live at jbonair.com, Matt Iseman from American Ninja Warrior is up right after this on The Scribble.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt, your shoulder hurts, and your back. Oh my God, your back. They're constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore, am I right? Well, here is something you haven't tried. Pain Absolve. Pain Absolve is not available in any drugstore. The only way to get it is by calling today. We're so confident that it will work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription needed, and best of all, each purchase comes with a money-back guarantee. Call now to find out how you can get Pain Absolve and get rid of your pain. Call 800-319-0582. That's 800-319-0582. 800-319-0582. Call today, 800-319-0582.
American Ninja Warrior is back on NBC, and Matt Iseman is back on the show with us. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Jeremy. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. Season 14 is underway. We're almost at the end of qualifying. I can't wait for people to see the semis, but especially what happens in Vegas.
I mean, season 14, let's just talk about that for a second. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but you guys keep upping the stakes and the game. It makes me feel much older every season. Like, it's getting pretty intense. I'm just sitting on the couch watching and I'm getting sore. I mean, how do you feel? You're there.
It makes you feel older?
Yeah.
I being the guy up there who's tried the course, broken a foot, broken an ankle, and then watches 15-year-olds up to 77-year-olds getting through obstacles, just destroying it and celebrating. And so here's how bad it is. I'll let you know my athletic state right now, Jeremy. I went to go see Top Gun Maverick when it opened.
Right.
I was so excited. I was wearing a jumpsuit. I was with my high school friends. We're going into the theater. I start skipping. I partially tore my Achilles tendon. That's where I'm at. And these other athletes are out there destroying these courses no matter what we throw at them.
Yeah, let's talk about the age thing, though, because, I mean, this is one of those shows where there's, younger contestants who've been watching for years. We see things like that on America's Got Talent and Survivor, right? They watch. But with Ninja Warrior, I mean, this is intense training. And, I mean, you're studying previous seasons, but really it's your game. Like, the competition is you when you're up there. You're competing with yourself almost, too.
Yes.
I mean, what do you think about that, the younger generation?
We did American Ninja Warrior Junior. Mm-hmm. We saw how skilled some of these young athletes were. So last season, we handpicked a few and invited them out. And obviously, one of them, Caden Letsack, ended up being the last ninja standing. Vance Walker was right there at the end as well. It was so impressive. And what blew me away was we knew they were strong. We knew they're young. They've gone through puberty, but they don't have the adult encumbrance that I'm now jiggling around my midriff that so many of us have. And they train hard, but we didn't know how would they handle the pressure of competing on this show they grew up watching, competing against some of their idols, and competing with the $1 million on the line. And obviously, they blew us away. It was just so impressive to see these young ninjas come out here. And just last week, we saw Katie Bone on the course, a 16-year-old climber with type 1 diabetes, who's the only woman so far to hit a buzzer in qualifying, other than Flex LeBrecq. I'm sorry. There were a few other women. But
yeah.
The only woman her night to hit a buzzer. And she was just so impressive. And to think of all that she's overcome to get there, and you realize these kids are so much more mature, certainly more mature than I was at 16.
For sure. And I mean, obviously during the lockdown, people made two decisions. Either I'm going to sit and eat and watch TV, and then I thought of Ninja Warrior because I thought you've got those people who are going to take the time to build obstacles in their basement, in their backyard, sort of their own training facilities. And this is a great time to sort of, shape up for the show.
100%. And season 12 was interesting because that was the one we shot all in St. Louis. That was our real, in the midst of the pandemic season right there. And that was what we found was all the gyms were closed. And so all the ninjas who were used to, having a gym maybe 10 minutes away from them had to figure out how to get creative. And we saw these athletes coming in saying, I'm not as strong, I haven't had as much training. But these athletes have really gotten so creative, and as the pandemic has lessened, they've just stepped up their training. And the amount of people who have, and we're not talking like massive houses. We're saying Nate Hansen and Austin Gray built in their garage, built like a replica of Stage 3. And they got very creative with it. But these athletes, it's amazing, and seeing how many of them will have climbing holds in their bedroom, and it really is a testament to the passion of these athletes, this desire. And it's what you said. They aren't competing against anybody else. They're competing against themselves to be better than they were last year, to be better than they were last week. And it's that kind of drive that I have so much respect for as I sit here and eat a McDonald's egg McMuffin for breakfast.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, it almost seems like you have to keep upping the game on the course just because they're going to keep beating the course almost. So, I mean, you could almost, I don't want to say sabotage, but I mean, next season, maybe a little too much hand sanitizer on the ropes and the bars and things, right? Probably sliding off, right? Mix it up a little bit. Can you do that?
Well, you know what? We've often had obstacles. We do, Jeremy. We call it like our arms race, where our obstacles have to keep getting harder because the athletes get so much stronger and better. Their technique grows. They train on obstacles I mean, what was crazy was we were seeing gyms where, because before the pandemic, the obstacles would be up, for a few days before we started shooting, as they're testing, as they're just trying to make sure they're all set up and they're safe. Some of the ninjas would go back to their gyms and try to create replicas to train on them. And it's just incredible, the creativity and how many of these athletes, I mean, young athletes are building climbing holes, are building ninja grips and figuring out how to share it with other ninjas. And that's the cool thing too, Jeremy, is it's not one person doing it on their own. It's one person saying, I got this idea, another person coming in, and they combine together. And that was what's really unique about Ninja Warrior versus most other competitive sports or competitive shows, is the athletes really help each other.
And it's also really motivating to get people active. I mean, there's so much talk about obesity and overeating and physical education being taken out of schools, and everybody just sits and stares at screens all day. I mean, this is one of the most physically active competition shows out there, if not the most.
Absolutely. And what's cool is it's the one that athletes train for year round. And our young ninjas, I mean, like Katie Bowen, she has type 1 diabetes. She's a world-class rock climber. She's training so hard for Ninja Warrior. All the athletes who come in here, and what's great is some of these people have been doing it their whole lives. Some of them have been active and athletic, but the ones that really move me are the people who were like, listen, I've never done anything athletic. I was out of shape. I was too heavy. And I looked at my kids and I said, I got to be around for them. Or my son said, hey, Mom, you can do that. And then you see these people have a goal, and the goal is just get on the show, get in better shape. And I think it's something we've realized with the rise of CrossFit and the mud races, all these things. Some people, they're just bored sitting on a treadmill. They want a goal. They want, hey, in 6 months, I'm doing a triathlon, whatever it is that they then have a goal for. And Ninja Warrior is such a great goal because there's a community here. And the thing I've seen firsthand is if you go into a ninja gym and there is one of the most experienced ninjas around, Flex Lebrecht, Joe Moromsky, whoever it may be, Najee Richardson, they don't haze you. They don't act like you're a rookie. They come up and say, if you're here, you're on the same level as us. You're a ninja. Let's do this. And remember, there is no failure here. There's only growth. And it's really amazing seeing the community that's built up from this. And if you talk about reality shows, we had 2 successful proposals this year. We've already had numerous ninja marriages. We have ninja babies. I'd put our numbers up against any dating show on television.
You're going to be officiating those weddings, right? Did you get licensed already? Is that what's happening?
I did get invited to one. Jamie Ron and his wife Kim, they invited me out. I don't know if they asked me to be the officiant. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. But I would be so honored to be a part of any of it. I love seeing the ninjas outside of the season because they're like my. You feel, even if some of them are older than me, you still feel like, hey, these are the kids. These are my kids. These are the people. And the reality is, it's their passion for this sport that gives me a job. It's these people's willingness to train so hard, to put themselves out there on national TV and put all that work on one shot. And that's what's crazy. If you fail, that's it. Your season's over. But if you get back up and come, then it's like, hey, I grew from that. And everybody has a stumble. And I think it's a good metaphor for life.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears for a second. Our friend Meredith Vieira was on the show recently, and I said to her off the air that I said, you're too good at 25 words or less, and that I think you're cheating, Matt. And she didn't agree or disagree. Do we have another game show scandal here? Do you want to make a statement? I'm just saying.
I am the amount of joy I derive from playing 25 words or less, because the guy who created it created Taboo. I love board games, Trivial Pursuit, anything word games especially. And what's fun is you go in there and it's like, hey, we're supposed to have a good time, and I adore Meredith Vieira. She's one of the sweetest women you'll ever meet. Whipped, funny, hilarious, doesn't take herself too seriously. But when we're on that show, you get so competitive because you have a chance to help these people win $10,000. But even bigger than that, I almost liken it to it's like stand-up comedy. When you tell a joke, you have to get everybody in the room to think of the same thing at the same time to get that joke. 25 words or less, you have to take somebody who has a completely different background than you, different experiences, different references, and figure out how can I get you in 1 or 2 words to understand where I want you to go. And for me, when you do that, especially when it's a tough word and you come up with something creative, it's the same thing as when you tell a joke and you get this massive response. It's a wave of just connection. It's a wave of, it's so satisfying that I adore playing on that show. It's fun. And am I cheating? My mom said people used to wonder that on Trivial Pursuit, and she goes, "No, Matt just knows a lot of random things." So no quiz show scandal just yet, Jeremy.
Well, I should tell everyone I'm just joking before anybody goes and starts posting something somewhere. It was all in good fun. It was a joke, everyone. But we're going to be watching American Ninja Warrior though on NBC. Matt, when can we catch the show?
Every Monday night at 8 p.m. on NBC. Check your local listings. It replays on Friday. It's available on Peacock. You can find it everywhere and anywhere. Previous seasons are up there. But Monday nights are when the new ones come out. And I just think it's a spectacular season. I hope people get to see the end because it's amazing.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I always do when I say NBC on the air is I say it's NBC ding ding dong. So there we go, right?
That is effective branding. You can't see me right now, but I'm spreading my arms like a peacock flouting its plumage. So I'm right there with you, Jared.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your McDonald's, Matt. All right. I thank you so much for joining us again. Always great chatting with you.
Jeremy, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for spreading the word.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. So I got to tell you what goes on behind the scenes here, okay? So during that segment with Matt Iseman, for the last minute and a half, maybe, was it a minute and a half or so? I'm getting the wrap up, okay, gotta go. And then just now, during the break, while you're listening to whatever it was, Mexico and Twitter I see on the screen, you're listening to promos there, then they're going and saying to me, you should have asked Matt about birthdays and what he does for his birthday, whatever. No, excuse me, piss off. You guys were just telling me, go, wrap it up. You've got to get off because we've got to move along. And it's like, oh yeah, you should have asked about, really, come on now, everybody. But anyway, let's circle back to that birthday thing. Maybe you've had some time to think about it. What do you do for your milestone birthdays? Now, one more just very quick point was for my 30th birthday, again, I was on the radio. I was in Nova Scotia. And we were there for about 4 or 5 days. We zigzagged all over the province. We were in rural Nova Scotia. And it was actually very eye-opening in a good sense because I thought that I was well-traveled in my own country. And then when I got there, I was very ignorant to the people. They're just very good-hearted, kind, genuine people. And for me, being, the city slicker from central Canada, it seemed weird to me. And then when I was there with them, I was there maybe 4 or 5 days. Yeah. I almost didn't want to leave. I was just like, holy crap, you people are for real. You're actually this nice. So there's that. I'll go to the East Coast and just It's so rural too, like so green. And anyway, we got to go. But the email address again, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. My thanks to Matt Iseman. American Ninja Warrior is on NBC, ding ding dong, on Mondays, as you heard him say. And also, I guess too, we've got The Bachelorette coming up. And I love live tweeting The Bachelorette and getting in trouble for the comments that I make about the cast. So you'll want to find me on Twitter for that, at Jeremy D. Bradley, at Jeremy D. Bradley on the Twitter, as my dad would say. I will talk to you same time, same place next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some